Hey guys, good to see everybody. Nancy, good to see you again. It's been a while. Good to see you. You know, AJ, what's up? Leroy, good to see you. Michelle, it's always good. So, welcome to the daily Speaker Hub Speaker Co-working call, where we answer any support questions, take and celebrate wins, and provide a little bit of instruction on how to get booked on more stages, whether you're a SpeakerHub customer or not. You're always welcome here to come to share your perspective, get our help in order to get your message out to more people. Um, yeah, I'm Ron Story. I'm the head of product at SpeakerHub. We're joined here by Angela Lewis, who's over operations, and a couple of our regulars. There are usually more people that join us on a daily basis. They'll come in and out. But we always start by having our new visitors, the first timers, to introduce themselves so that everyone knows who they are and how they can help them to get on the more stages. Oh, Victor, Victor's back. Good to see you, Victor. Um,
Good to be here.
you
Good
know,
to see you,
it's
Ron.
been a while, man.
Everyone
You
else.
disappeared on us for a little bit, you know?
Oh man, busy with projects, man. It's been crazy, man. When I say I gotta jump in and hang out with the crew.
Oh yeah, you gotta, this thing doesn't work if you don't make any money. So
Yeah.
that's really
Say that
important.
again.
It's really, really, really important. So, Nancy, if you want to introduce yourself, I know who Nancy is, but everyone else may not know Nancy. And if you would like to introduce yourself to tell us a little bit about what you speak about and what your topic is, and we can go from there.
I'm Nancy Landrum. I'm a relationship coach. I speak on various topics having to do with healthy relationships.
Oh, that's cool. And where are you located, Nancy?
Murrieta, California, just south of about 45 miles south of Los Angeles.
Okay, cool. And we assume you're safe from the fire, away from all of the madness that was happening over the last few weeks.
I'm very grateful it didn't come near me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And how long have you been speaking?
I have been teaching classes and coaching for 32 years. I've done some public speaking, but I'm interested in really upping my speaking game in order to get more clients and also promote my books and products.
No, that makes sense. And how many books have you written up to this point? I see you have a few of them behind you.
I currently am writing my ninth book.
Holy crap, that's incredible. Incredible.
Writing is
Incredible.
easy. Speaking is a little more challenging, but writing is very easy for me.
I think a lot of people think it's the opposite. They're like, I can speak. Writing is the hard part. I got to do a bunch of editing and getting all the words right. So, but but yeah, no, it's good to see you. Great to see everybody. Jasmine, good to see you come in. Chantel, good to see you come in. Bonnie, it's always good. Bonnie is our resident ski professional. She's taking some time off of the slopes in Colorado to come join us today. you know, it's always good to see everybody. Any wins? Any bookings this week? Anything that's changed since yesterday? If you weren't here yesterday, good to see you today. Any things to celebrate? We got Victor back. Bonnie, what's going on?
Look at Angela. She's already smiling. I see it. I see it. That's right.
Angela got on the snuggie. She got like the fancy
She's
snuggie.
a little roasty toasty over there. She should be here in Colorado where it's 4 degrees right now. Oof. Yeah, so something had changed since yesterday. I sent a little note to Angela and I said, please, please help me finish out my profile well enough that I can launch the thing. And I pressed the button, people. Whoop, whoop. It's actually launched. I got 75% of it done, and I'm very excited about that. So, Angela, huge kudos to you for the help and patience and all the joy that you brought to that experience. Thank you.
No, that's cool.
Anytime,
Yeah,
Bonnie, anytime.
yeah. The speaker page is an important part. It's how people find you, right? And Bonnie, have you started pitching yet outside of your speaker page?
Well, I went into my page today to see if everything was working. And the videos are still just like picture thumbnail, so it still needs some work. So the answer is no, I haven't pitched yet. I've gathered things I'm pitching to, but I didn't pitch until I know that everything's functional. So we still have a little something to do there.
Oh yeah, but don't hold back. Pitch. You got to start sending them. LinkedIn, I mean,
I'm ready.
before we owned SpeakerHub, people didn't have a speaker page and they were still getting booked. When Lorraine first joined us, we didn't have the speaker profiles at SpeakerHub. All we had was their LinkedIn. When AJ joined us, we didn't have the speaker profiles at SpeakerHub. All we had was the emails. You just sent the emails, and the booking still happened. So don't let that hold you back. We're gonna push you. Gonna give you a gentle nudge every time to not
Oh,
be perfect. To pitch
I
when
am
you're
so
not
ready.
perfect.
I'm so ready. I have 3 podcasts coming up next week that are just from my other, but I want the videos. When someone clicks on that, I want that video to work. So, and Orang has been here since before Dirt, so a whole other comment
we, we got
situation.
a commercial
Milk
down at the
Toast.
bottom with John announcing his arrival. I sent AJ an article that I found this morning that said that in a particular country, there's been serial killers who have been killing men that are bald because they believe that they have gold inside of their skull. So, John, we got a ticket waiting for you so you can go and inspect to see if this is true. You can go and investigate this to see if
No,
it's true.
thank you. I take your word for it.
I mean, it's a true thing, though. I saw it on the thing. I mean, at least a real article. But Bonnie, yeah, we're just gonna push you a little bit to go ahead and start sending the pictures. We don't want you to wait around because people need to hear your message. So good to see you, Jadika. Good to see you, John. It's always fun. Charles, I don't know if we met Charles before. I can't see his last name, so I don't know if this is a Charles that we've met before. If it's a new Charles. But Charles, if you're new, this is your first time here, we would love to have you introduce yourself so that we know who we're talking to. Speaker Hub is a family of people that all get together to talk about how we're going to get booked or how we are getting booked on stages. So, Charles, is this your first time? Okay. Well, whenever you're ready, if you want to unmute, you can. Okay, same old Charles from yesterday. All right. All right. All right. Cool. Now we know. Now we know. Just want to make sure. All right. So any celebrations, anything before we get into talking about why we do this thing? All right, cool. So yesterday was a very interesting call. What was that? Okay. Yeah, yesterday was a very interesting call because I left the call feeling that sometimes you got to reflect on why we do this thing, right? And we think about why are we speakers? Why does Nancy want to help people to build their relationships? Why does Victor want to help people to present themselves better? And why does Jasmine want people in better wellness? The why of why we do this is probably the most important element of speaking. Because if you lose the why, you lose the motive and the engine that keeps us going. And it's the thing that I think Nancy says she's been helping people with relationships for 38 years. Without her really believing that she could help people, you don't stay in it for 38 years. You give up, right? You don't write 9 books about why you're doing something or trying to help people if you really don't believe it. And but sometimes that flame of why kind of flickers a little bit. Like, why am I doing this? Man, it's not paying me yet. It's not giving me as much money as I wanted, or the thing didn't take off the way that I wanted it to. And yesterday was a great reminder of if we could just help one person, it might be worth it over the long run. We had a great speaker on yesterday, and her name was Erica, and Erica talked about how her daughter has become a speaker at 13. And her daughter was talking about a traumatic experience that she had with a family member that scarred her for life. And you can imagine what I'm referring to without getting me blocked on YouTube. If we could save one little girl from going through that, or one little boy from going through that experience by empowering the voice of Erica and her daughter, that is a huge thing. but also if we could save someone from going through a different, from destroying their marriage, from um, losing confidence in their business or whatever it may be, just because they heard us talk. It it's really, really, really important. So what I want to do is to kind of go around and find out why. Why are we speakers? Like it's easy for me to talk about that it's important to have your why, but I know why I do it. I tell you all the time. I am on this platform because I call it counterintelligence. I think there's a lot of ignorant messages out there, and I need to empower the voices of the intelligent people to kind of counter the stupidity that's out of the world, whether it's through music, whether it's through whatever genre of life. If there's ignorance, I think it should be countered by empowering intelligent people to get their messages out to more people. So I just want to go around and Jasmine, if you want to go first and tell us why do you speak on your topic? Tell us what your topic is and why you talk about it.
I am in health and wellness for 20 years in that space, health and wellness space. But I believe I have a message to share in regards to wellness. I think it's misunderstood. And I believe, so I'm here on earth really to share my message that wellness is an integral part of living. And without wellness, really, everything else falls apart. So and I chose, that's the main thing, but I chose workplace because it translates from the work to the home to the community. Mm-hmm. And in my podcast yesterday, I've been doing this on all the podcasts that they're saying, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. I equate, I took something as burnout because it's a hidden sign, just like hypertension, just like high blood sugar. Burnout is hidden. So in my book, The Hidden Signs, how to find out intelligent burnout, how to look at yourself and know you're in the burnout phase. So I have the pie, the burnout pie and the well pie. Okay. And it's a medium pie with 8 slices.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Was there something that impacted you choosing that? Right. So a lot of times it's not, we don't like our topics usually choose us. We don't choose it. Did your topic choose you or did you choose your topic?
My topic chose me because I've been immersed in it for so long, and it might stem from our culture of a lot of hidden illnesses that we go through. You look, you throw diabetes out there, and 3/3 of the pie. So it came from seeing elders in my household having 1, 2, or 3, not my household, but in my family and broader community, is walking around not knowing what they have. And as well, because I experienced burnout in creating the first wellness club, I thought I'm in a wellness center, but I was burnt out because I couldn't understand why I would go home so tired and crying. So that now makes me start dissecting how we all walk around with burnout, even though we have that facade of being well. Mm-hmm. So that's what it called me.
No, that's really, really, really important. I'm glad that you share that because again, sometimes we forget why we get caught up in doing the stuff, and the reminder of why we're doing it is usually the fuel that keeps us going. So Nancy, you want to share why you chose relationships or why you chose your topic?
My calling began when I was 3 years old, and I was so aware of how much my parents' relationship hurt me. I longed for them to act lovingly and respectfully toward each other, and they didn't seem to know how to do that. By the time I was 6 or 7 and learned to read, I knew I would write books to help other people have better relationships. And then came about 40 years of tough lessons before I had anything worth writing, teaching, or speaking about. But I want to save couples and their children from the unnecessary pain of divorce or an unhappy marriage.
Wow. No, that's really impactful. You mentioned something that's a bit different than what I normally hear. Usually people focus on the couples. You mentioned their children. Was that because of the direct effect that your parents' relationship had on you?
Yes, and the direct relationship that a parent's have on their well-being of their children. Statistically, children of unhappy or conflicted marriages or divorced parents have lower grades in school. They have more social difficulties. They have more physical symptoms. Children are carrying around the trauma of their parents' relationships. And the couples that I work with, I've seen over and over again that when their marriage gets peaceful and respectful, the behavior of the children improves, or they are able to work together in co-parenting their children in an effective way.
No, that's really, really, really important. I can imagine that. You know, I think about my mom and dad, they were divorced, but I can't remember living with my dad while he was alive, right? But my mom never had a hostile attitude towards him, right? So it was never a bunch of negativity, but it's kind of hard to understand, how do you love this person that's never there? Does that make sense? Like, because he wasn't there. But and you
Always,
say, well, mom and dad are equal, but mom's here every day, dad's here every never. You know, how do you balance that as a young man who's looking for a role model? So I think what you're doing is super duper duper important, because it could save another kid from having the conflict that I went through, right? Of not knowing, like,
I ask
this
every
guy's supposed to be Superman and I don't ever see him. He's Clark Kent somewhere in the office. You know?
I ask every couple I meet with, do you have someone in your circle that has a marriage you'd like to emulate? 95% of them don't know of any marriage. They can't see any marriage in their acquaintances or their family that looks appealing to them.
Holy crap. Is that your husband in the photo behind you?
Yes.
That's incredible. Incredible. That's a cool picture. You know? Cool. Thank you for sharing, Nancy. That means a lot. And yeah, no, I mean, knowing why, and for that to be impactful at the age of 5 or 4, holy crap. I mean, I wanted to be a pirate when I was 5. I didn't think about I wasn't thinking about writing a book. I want to go to space, you know? AJ, you want to talk about why you do what you do? No, nobody's required to do this. I'm just calling on random people based on how my squares are set up. So if you want me to skip you, or actually, I'll let y'all volunteer to come up so nobody thinks I'm picking on you. I don't want the emails afterwards. I didn't want to say nothing, but you made me. I don't want those emails. So, AJ, if you want to go ahead. If not, we'll let Rain go.
I'm gonna go, and I'm definitely gonna send you an email. Actually, I was working with T. Harv Eker's company, Peak Potentials, and they were doing like millionaire mindset stuff. And I bought into the program, and it was a real estate thing that they had that I went to, and it was in Atlanta. The audience in there was about probably 98% African American, and the 3 guys doing it were 3 white dudes from Utah. And as I'm listening to them, I'm like, yo, this ain't like y'all, this ain't right. Like y'all not like this is like below rich dad, poor dad stuff. Like y'all not being honest with them. And they're trying to upsell you to everything that you're doing. So they pulled me over to the side after one of the breaks and was like, hey, so are you gonna go forward with us? And I was like, no, I'm not, because I think what you're doing is unethical. I don't think, you know what I'm saying, y'all telling people the truth, y'all selling them a dream. And and he literally looked at me and said, I said, I don't think y'all should be doing this. And he said, well, if you don't like it, you do it differently. I said, cool, hold my beer. And from then I was just like, let me start doing events, because even if I can't have the crowds, I can still make an impact. And so it was that dude telling me like, well, if you don't like it, you do something about it. I said, cool. And that's when I started.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a really, it's interesting, because a lot of times there's a guy who, when I first got into financial advisory, one of the first offices I worked at, the guy was really encouraging, but the next office that I went to, the guy was very selfish. I came from an environment where the person told me that I was in business for myself. And then the new environment that I went to, I was an employee of his firm. It was no longer I was doing it for myself. I was an employee of his thing. And when I continued with the same attitude of doing it my way as my own business, they, were very discouraging and saying, hey, don't, follow the rules of how we do things here. And, one of the last conversations was, hey, go start your own thing if you think you can do it better. So I get it. I get it, I don't wish anything bad on that guy, but I don't have any, I don't, I thank him for the challenge of saying, go out and do it on your own. Because for somebody who has had things taken away from him in unfair ways and different things, the challenge to do it on my own has always been one that I've accepted. So AJ, I get it. I 100% get it, High five for you taking up the mantle and putting on your own events. If you don't know, AJ produces events and shows people how to do live events without you needing to rent a huge hotel and have 500 people there. You can do a great live event with 15 to 20 people. So AJ shows you how to do that on a really great level. So thanks for doing it, because it's been impactful to me to go to your events. So Jadika, I see you up there with your hand up. Jadika has on head wrap number 436. Every day for the last 8 years, she's worn a different head wrap. She wears it one time and then retires it.
Thank you, Ron. I guess to answer your question, I'm a rebel rouser. I'll just put it like that.
What's that? What's a rebel rouser? What's that?
And I'm going to tell you what a rebel rouser is. When I was a child, I wanted to be a doctor. And to me, a doctor was a healer. By the time I got to college, that's not what doctors do. So I changed my career and went into social work. And it so happened that during the social work experience, I was able to cover the whole gambits, everything from seniors to infants and every type of social service they could have. And I saw that everybody was going to the emergency room, and I said, something's wrong with this picture. And it sparked my desire again to want to be a doctor. And that was around the time when naturopath and all was coming into play. And I went back to school and became a naturopathic practitioner. And with that, I started understanding the number one reason that people go to see a doctor, regardless of whatever it is because they're in pain. And all they want is relief from pain. They don't want anything else. They want pain relief. And so that kind of put me on the path that I'm on. And I say that to say that my career, when I started my practice, I originally started working with senior citizens. I built my practice off of working with seniors. And when you work with seniors, you have to understand that seniors want what they want, when they want it, how they want it, and you cannot deviate any way from how they operate. And so in the course of that, they taught me a whole lot in terms of what I do today, starting with what they asked for. They liked the idea of the reflexology, but then they wanted manicures and pedicures. So then I had to go to school to learn how to introduce reflexology to the beauty industry. And from there, that opened up doors for me to start teaching. So then I built a career on teaching reflexology in the beauty industry all across the United States. And that started with seniors. And then from there, it opened the door for me to start teaching healthcare practitioners how to relieve pain. That was a whole nother experience, all back to the seniors. And then from there, seniors introduced me to their family members. I moved into working with their families, their connections, and then the corporations and all of that, which then moved me into the research piece. So I started researching as it relates to pain. And from that, I created the concept of relieving pain first before treatment. And then we move into integrative approaches to health and wellness as a treatment plan. And I say that to say that my whole approach now is showing people that you do have options that can relieve pain without medication and how you go about doing that. So that's been my path based upon living my childhood dream experience and letting the seniors be the ones to show me the way. So, which means now I get in a position now to be able to do what the seniors did for me. They passed the baton. Now I'm in the baton passing situation now where, and I say this thanks to you, Ron, here's another experience. With the podcast, I'm meeting so many wonderful people in just the podcast experience and the relationships that we are establishing and the things that we have been able to, that we are getting in the process of doing just through my connections with the podcast. That's opening some doors now to the association. For me as a speaker, it's not so much that I'm into getting on the stage and making this whole big thing. For me, it's my message. And in the words of what Muhammad Ali said, it is our job here on earth. Whatever our passion is, that's our rent that we pay. Why did you ruin the noise? And that's what I'm all about. I'm getting ready to pay my rent, and I'm paying my rent through relieving pain first without medication. There you go.
That is incredible. I didn't think about, like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, why do people go to the doctor? And it's like, man, my back hurt. First thing they say, this hurt, my foot hurt, my tooth hurt. That's why I'm going to the dentist, right? And I think, yeah, thinking about how you could relieve the pain before medicating or before introducing chemical treatments, I think that's really, really, really important. And Jadika has did she leave? What happened to Jadika?
No,
Oh,
she's
she
still
down at the
here.
bottom. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm like, where
it
she
shifts
go?
around.
Like the thing moved on me. I'm like, did she leave on us? But no, that's really, really, really important because I hate going to the doctor and I don't like taking medicine. So yeah, I think that's a big deal. I think we're hearing kind of a common theme, guys. For those who are just joining, we're just asking why. Why did you choose your topic, or why did your topic choose you? And I think sometimes the why is really, really, really important because it's what keeps us going when everything else may be frustrating us. And it's really interesting to see how many people were impacted as a kid, and that mission started real early. You're like, ooh, I'm never dealing with that again, you know? And now we're out here changing other people's lives to prevent them from going through the same thing. So, John, actually, we skipped Arain. Arain keeps getting out of line and putting himself at the back of the bus like Rosa Parks. Arain, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So I feel like my topic chose me. It's funny that AJ mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I read that book when I got out of college, and I felt that within the African American community, we aren't taught things about money. We aren't taught things about real estate, and I kind of wanted to do something to help kind of shift that narrative. And so that's kind of how I got started. I had purchased my first house at a young age and just wanted to reach back into my community and bringing that message about money and just some foundational principles around money. So that's kind of how I got started, and I felt that the topic chose me.
No, that's super duper duper important. You know, we got a real estate mogul in here, a little secret billionaire. Ray owns half of the block in all of our neighborhoods, and he didn't tell us. No, that's pretty cool, Lorraine. John, what's up?
Hey
John
guys, hey
Diggs.
folks. My I truly believe it's just my divine mission to share my message. I did, well, just those. I did a TEDx talk that talks in depth about it, but just to highlight it, I once owned one of the largest mortgage companies in all of Southern California in the early 2000s, living a millionaire-like lifestyle. But then when the recession hit, it actually took everything from me. I mean, I lost house, lost cars, even lost my family, was homeless, and mind mapping came into my life by way of this book. Again, the story is on my TEDx talk long, but mind mapping changed my life. It literally changed my life and enabled me to get clarity on what I wanted my life to be about. It gave me clarity on who I am. And since 2009, 2010, it's really enabled me to do a lot of incredible stuff with my life. When the pandemic hit, it just really called me to, just start sharing this tool, this powerful tool with everybody that I can connect to show them how to utilize the power of mind mapping as a personal development tool to get clear on who they need to be, to do what they want to do, and have all that they want to have to love and live their best life. And it's been one of those things. Now I'm one of the top mortgage software developers in the country and got a nice business going for myself, but I'm really willing to let all of that go because I truly believe my calling is to really help people clarify who they are, to love and live their best life. And that passion has led me to write 10 books, become an international bestseller, and do all of this kind of stuff to really passionately help people clarify who they are. And every morning I get up with that same vision of it's time to cause and create positive change in lives. And that is something I'm really passionate about.
No, it's a huge deal. And I think John summed it up for what everyone else was saying, just saying it in a different way. He said that it was bigger than him, right? It's like, this is bigger than me. This was,
Yeah.
I didn't choose this. This is my divine calling. And I think when you're 5, 6, 7 years old, you realize it's bigger than you. Because it's hard to be selfish at 4 and 5. You're thinking about, I don't want anyone else to deal with this. It's all about how do you prevent these other things from happening to other people, or the call to arms as AJ went through and Arain. It's all right. This guy will never tell another person if you think you could do it better, right? Because I'm going to go do it better. So I think that divine calling. I don't believe that anybody is a speaker by mistake. And I'll tell you what, this shit is hard. Like, it ain't easy. I mean, it's not easy to be a speaker. Like, it's still one of the top 5 most feared things to be done by a human. If you ask them, what are you afraid of? Public speaking will be in the top 5 still, right? And that's the main thing. Like, this wasn't by mistake, guys. I just want to encourage you, let you know that this is a really, really impactful thing, because we could have chose a lot of easier careers, a lot of easier ways to make money. So high five for taking up the arms and choosing to share your message. Bonnie, you want to share why you chose to be a speaker?
Sure, thanks. I definitely was called to do this because I struggled in my teenage and early adult years with debilitating panic disorder and agoraphobia, to the point where once I had clawed my way into the college that I wanted most to be in, I dropped out at the end of the first semester because my anxiety was so bad I couldn't go to classes. So I wasn't able to function in that world. So my specialty is helping people recognize what's behind their emotions. Because when I first started in therapy, I couldn't even name mine after being in my wildly dysfunctional family for too long. To help people understand what their emotions are and what anxiety means is something that word is something people want to avoid. It's weakness. It's not okay to be anxious. It's weird. It's can't you just relax? And what's behind that usually is a lot of pain. And I was thinking of what Jadika was saying about relieving pain without medication. That's my mission. So a lot of people who are in pain don't seek what they need, and we eat it, we drink it, we binge watch it, we binge other things around it, in order to relieve our pain. And a lot of us who do seek therapy end up in what I call the old playbook of therapy, which is talk therapy, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapies, and medication. And as a young person, those things helped me to a degree. But what I've discovered in my work as a therapist, a coach, a middle school teacher for more than 2 decades, a staff instructional coach for teachers, what I've discovered in those places is that there are a lot of other opportunities to remove the blocks of anxiety and stress. And some of the things that I practice with people, whether in my therapy or coaching, or EFT tapping, with using the Chinese meridian system to relieve the blocks of energy that get caught in our systems. We can actually tap through these things while talking about what's going on to remove that energy. Also, Jin Shin Jitsu, which is a Japanese practice, again on the energetic and meridian focus, that helps to complete, if we could say, complete positive energy pathways in the body just by touch. And it's amazing to me, but it works. To help, again, people relieve physical and emotional pain. I also, for myself, developed wildlife imagery as a therapy back in 2005 and use that with a lot of folks, and also do a lot of work through the polyvagal theory, the stimulating the ventral vagus nerve, which helps us to slow our breath, lower our anxiety, and move that out. So natural ways of relieving anxiety. I love speaking about it. Audiences are always wowed when they realize that I was actually stuck in the house at one point, and now I'm a speaker. So if I can do that and I can bring that message to others, that's why I'm here. Thanks.
No, I don't have to say nothing after that one. I get it. I get it.
I never read about
You know?
cotton.
No, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing it with us. You know, it means a lot. Charles, same old Charles, as he calls
Same old
himself.
Charles. Same old Charles. A long title there. Thanks, Ron. If I were to ask everyone this morning, as part of your morning routine, how many of you took a shower, shaved, did your hair, put on your makeup, did that whole morning routine? Show of hands. How many of you did that this morning? Okay, and if I ask you now, a few of you haven't put up your hands, and that's okay.
So we can see everybody. I removed the spotlight so you can see.
Okay, yeah, thank
you.
Perfect. Yeah, and so the other question I'll ask you is, how many of you spent this morning either meditating, in prayer, reflecting, something along those lines? Yeah, so you can see, at least for me, in my experience, when I ask that question, I find that a lot of us focus more on our outer appearance than we do on our inner appearance, right? This inner focus. And for me, same sort of situation. It took time with my family, which I rarely had before traveling the world with them this past year, where I was more focused on how I looked and appeared and came across from an outward perspective, as opposed to how I was really truly feeling from an inward perspective. And you heard a few of the other speakers talk about that as well. But it took me a year of travel and time away from my day-to-day routine for me to realize that there's more to life than all of the usual sort of hustle culture and mentality. And so for me, the reason why I do what I do, focusing on this idea of the power of pausing, is because I needed that for myself. I had that time away that was a bit of a wake-up call that said, wow, it's almost as if I've seen my kids in a whole new light, seen my spouse in a whole new light, right? And so that has fundamentally changed my view on life. And as I put together our story of our travel and our trip, it wasn't so much the travel and the trip and how to deal with kids and all that. It was more I don't want to know if it's the spiritual aspect, but it was more the fact that I realized that there's another way of living. Not the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. There was alternate ways. There are many multiple ways of pursuing life and happiness and what fulfills you. it helps you reach your destiny, et cetera, et cetera. And so for me, I find that being able to share my story, telling that story of this unexpected power of pausing, and it doesn't have to be a travel or some trip related thing, it doesn't have to be a sabbatical, it doesn't have to be time away from your family, but it's being able to think through finding opportunities over the course of your life and the course of your day to breathe, to relax, to take it in. I've almost kind of equated this idea of pausing to like a comma in a sentence, right? It's not a full stop, it's not a question mark, it's not an exclamation mark. It's this idea that gives you an opportunity to breathe, catch your breath, and then continue moving forward. And so, and in many ways, what happens is that if you don't put that comma in your sentence, someone else will do it for you. And you may not necessarily like where they place it, whether it be a health setback, a career shift, family challenges. Life has a way of forcing us to breathe. And so that's the story that I tell. And it's as a result of the time I spent with my family that I realized that I needed more of an opportunity to breathe, to pause, to reflect, to be a lot more aware of my presence and the surroundings around me as well. And as I've been sharing that kind of story, that narrative to friends and family, I've been blown away as to how many people it resonates with. And it's something I feel that is actually true, genuine to what I'm saying and doing. All the other things I've been kind of spending my time on autopilots, floating through life, going from great career, one thing to another. But I now feel that I'm in the right place. I can feel it in my bones. I can feel it in my spirit that this is the thing I need to be telling and talking to people about my experience. And so that really is why I do what I do, is what I say, why I say what I say as well. So that's sort of my focus and my reason for being. Yeah.
No, it's really, really, really cool, especially in a world where everybody, especially me, hey man, just do it. Like, I'm not the pause dude. I'm the go do it dude. Like if I had to pick a brand that kind of fit my personality, it would be Nike. Cause I'm just like, yo, just do it. Don't wait. Do it now. You never know when you're going to die. You never know how long you got on this planet. But it's, as I was listening to you, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like running the engine of your car and never, turning it off. You're just going to keep the engine running at full throttle the whole time. And even though your speedometer can go up to 150 miles per hour, it's not designed to do that forever, right? At some point, you got to let it idle down and then rev it back up. And so, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate what you said, because I'm 100. I ain't gonna go 150, but I'm 145 every single day. I'm gonna push this thing every day, and so yeah, I mean, I need to sit with that for a minute, because it probably can help me in some ways. So thanks, Charles. Yeah, because AJ and I talk about hustling all the time. We're like, dude, a lot of us start off in business and we're just hustlers, right? And we're doing whatever we need to do to keep this thing going, right? And as the business grows, now we're up to about 35 people at SpeakerHub. I'm always like, look, I don't have one mortgage. I got 35. Right? I don't have one car payment. I got 35 car payments. I don't have one family to feed. I got to feed everybody's kids. Why? Because they're here at my job and they're at my company. So I have to pay for everybody's stuff. So my hustle is always going, because I can never let my team down. Right? And that's the biggest fear, because if the machine stops, then the mission stops. And it's this, yeah, I got to figure it out. Charles, we're going to figure it out somehow.
I was just going to say, Ron, a quick thing is that once you're done with this call, it's not even having a major stop. It's just even taking 30 seconds to breathe before you open the door and let all the hounds in. Finding just a few seconds just to say, hey, man, I just need to relax for a little bit, take a few seconds to reflect on the conversation before moving on to the next thing. As opposed to this, I can't stop anything. I got to go from 145 to zero, right? You got to be realistic, because otherwise you're not going to do it.
Right. So like this couch, I never sit on this couch. My kids sit there, but I probably should take a nap right there after my calls. I got my excuse to take a nap. If the business falls apart, I'm blaming Charles. Charles told me to go to sleep.
It won't fall apart, Ron. That's why we're here. It will not fall apart.
I'm blaming Charles. I found my scapegoat. Charles, it's your fault, No, thanks again. That's really impactful. Here, let me tell y'all a secret. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all think I do this for y'all. I do this for free coaching. I'm trying to learn from you all. What are the things that I can impact in my life? And y'all just get to sit in on it. This is really a very selfish thing because I'm trying to understand. Kara, good to see you. Hey, it's good to see you. It's been a while.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, do you want to introduce yourself? I don't think anyone else here knows you besides me and Bart, so I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everybody. So my name's Kara Eastlick. I'm standing in here as the assistant to a speaker. The speaker is Robert Heath. I'm actually here to learn more about the speaking outreach process and eventually build my own speaking business, but also help gain leads for Robert and build his speaking business as well.
Yeah, Robert is a good friend of mine for over, it's probably 28, almost 30 years. We were freshmen in college together back. We were like the campus preachers back in the day. I can tell y'all some funny stories about me and Robert. We used to run these Bible studies back at the University of Illinois back in 1996. And but Robert's a great guy, great person, and good to see you again, Kara. Robert became one of our lifetime members in January. He's probably busy with meetings and doing what he does, but good to see you. Glad you hopped in.
Thank you.
Leroy, what's up? You want to tell us why you are Leroy?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I think I don't normally share this story, but I think it's a good place to start today. So as you know already, you probably can tell by the Caribbean flavor in my voice. I'm from Jamaica. So my history go way back. I did mention to you that my dad was born in 1941 and my mother not too long after that date. So my granddad go back in the 1800s. So quite a lot of history there. Now, that also presented some challenges for my family because they inherited a lot of baggages from the empire, speaking specifically now of the British Empire. And so they didn't get a chance to get the education that I was privy to get. And so they had inherited some beliefs. And what I've come to understand is that beliefs are not only transferable, but they're also generational. So it became the time for me to get to high school. It was a significant challenge because there was nobody else in my circle, in my environment, who have ever achieved that. And none of my siblings before me never get a chance to go to high school. And I was the first one to break away from that. Well, to make a short story shorter, I did eventually get to high school and from there on to university. And spent some time in law enforcement because my grandfather did spend some time in that area. And then I was not satisfied with what I had at the time. So I've decided to move to the UK and I've done that. And that's what marked the journey for me in the British Army. So I've had the opportunity to serve in two major institutions, both of which, by the way, they are older than the United States of a country combined because the British Army traces its roots back to 1660 and the Jamaica Constabulary Force was started in 1716. And we know that America gained independence in 1776. So that's more than 660 years of history. But as I spend time in both of these institutions, which are heavily team and leadership based, I have come to understand as well that whilst there are many good things in these organizations, there is still a leadership philosophy which is inherently flawed. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to combat because they still believe that there's only a certain kind of people who can lead. And it doesn't matter how good you are, there is a ceiling that is set for you. And I've seen many people who have much to contribute, who were not given the opportunity to flourish and to be their best. And over time, I've come to realize that there's a serious issue here. And I think people at the highest level in leadership are really missing out when they do not have everybody a part of their team involved and they're not allowed to contribute in their own way. Plus, it's always good to benefit from fresh perspective. And I realized that these organizations that I was a part of, they were struggling to adapt and to do well because they were suffering from the same thinking, because it's one class of people. They think alike, they drink alike, they eat the same. And as a result, a next perspective was missing. And that's what really fueled me up, really, to speak specifically to the issue of disconnected leadership. And that's what I speak about. And I am making that transition now after 19 years of those two institutions. And I really want to help people who lead teams and who have teams to get more out of their teams, because I do believe that the age within which we are now moving is the age of collaboration and partnership. I think the age of the employee is dead. And in order for us to survive, we are only going to do well if we have a crucial and critical skill, which I refer to as emotional intelligence. And that create an opening for two specific things. One, that's our ability to connect with people, which leads to two things: vocal presence and executive presence. So vocal presence has to do with not only how we speak, but it's our ability to connect with people on a much more deeper level, which leaves an emotional impact. And executive presence has to do with how do you show up? How are you received and accepted, even without you opening your mouth and speaking? And I think our people have suffered a lot from that, because when they step in a room, they do not know that they're already been judged and they've already been placed in a box. And you need to know how to surpass the challenges which come about of not knowing what it really takes to show up with confidence and to be your authentic self. And that is why I created my framework around that we have spoken about quite a lot, which is the C3 framework, which speaks to address those issues specifically. And I not only preach that, but I believe in that strongly. And one of the things that I really realized I had was to do was likewise to surround myself with people who can pour into me and help me to develop better as a leader. And very, very early on, I recognized that I needed good examples to aspire to. And thankfully, on the journey so far, I've managed to manifest those relationships. And I think what you do here at SpeakerHub, it's an amazing thing. And I think we have a lovely community here that is thriving, and I'm happy to be associated with it. And, I just want to thank you and the rest of the team for what you do. And I think 2025 is going to be a momentous year. There are some interesting projects that will be rolled out, and I think SpeakerHub will definitely help me to achieve these goals and to get my message out there to the masses and to make the impact that we need to make, because no more than ever before, I think the world is divided and so many people are speaking with the intent to deceive for a profit. And I think we need a message of positivity and a message of hope that really unites us. And here in the UK, I mean, it's very divisive just the same. So we're not spared from the madness. But I think we need more positive people to step forward and to do their bit. And that's exactly what I want to do. So thank you again for what you do here and your amazing work.
No, thank you for being a part of it. Again, that's why we do it, right? Imagine having the ability to amplify the message of someone that has always felt as if their message was being quieted, right? A lot of us feel like only if they gave us the chance, right? If they just let me get on there, I would tell them and I could change so many people's lives. Only if they gave me the chance. So here we try to remove all of those barriers so that you can never say they never gave me a chance, because you just never know who's listening. One small podcast could save the life of another person, can save another person from anxiety, can save a marriage, can save a leader whose dream to lead may have been quenched by his superior. With what Bart does, one talk, one preventive message into a business on how they could escape high risk situations could save an entire workforce. Even if it only saved one person's life, it could save somebody. So our job is to be amplifiers of speakers. It's not. We've all been told we ain't good enough. That's what it comes down to. We've all been told, hey, yeah, but not now. This ain't your turn. Fuck out of here. It is my turn. I just may be in the wrong place, but this is my turn. Right. So yeah, you're in the right place, guys. Look at Carter's down there crying. So you, Leroy, you done brought Carter's to tears, man.
No, it was like what you just said, like what both of you just said was so impactful because here's the thing, it's like I won an award for Black Engineer of the Year, and I recently came across the video again. And one of the things that I said when I got the award, I said, the thing is, I'm winning this award now, so don't celebrate your highs too high, and don't take your lows too low. But one of the things that I said in the speech when accepting the award, I said, I'm looking out at you, and everybody in here is a key. You just haven't found the right door. So like everybody has the opportunity to open doors and go to this next level in life, but at the same time, you got to remember that you are the tool that's going to get you in the door that you belong in. Too many times that we're trying to force ourselves in doors that we don't fit in, and it's just not for us. Let's move on to the next door, because there's another thing, like once we get to a certain level, we become a master key and we open multiple doors at once. So like the collection of what you two were saying were kind of like the philosophies that I'm trying to build in other people. So it was touching.
It's cool, man. We brought you to tears. This is the first time I done made somebody cry. So this is we got our first tears shared on the SpeakerHub co-working. No, I'm just joking with you, Carlos. But no, that really means a lot. I think that's our job. And when the mission aligned with the right people, you can always win the fight. Right. And we know what our mission is. And I think I found my people. We got 63,000 folks that use SpeakerHub. And I see some of the same people show up every day. I don't need everybody. I need the right people. So thanks for you guys showing up on a daily basis. It means a lot to us. So Victor, you want to talk about how we can show up better and why you chose to be a brand strategist?
Yeah, sure, man. Some really inspirational stories here. So, man, I thank you guys for sharing. And Ron, thank you for what you're doing. It's awesome. Man, I was so blessed to have so many good people in my life. I always tell people I grew up around some of the greatest people you will never hear about because they didn't do what they did in order to be seen or heard or to get a plaque or have their name in lights. They did so many good things for me out of the kindness of their hearts and for other people as well. Um, when I was about 8 years old, my dad ended up walking out on my mom, my sister, and I. So he left us, and I was that kid. I was just always getting into trouble. Whether it's at home, at school, at church. I was a class clown. In the principal's office, suspended, detention, all of that stuff. And so you know what they say, without a young Black man without a father in his life, he's either going to end up on drugs, in jail, or selling drugs. By the grace of God, I haven't done any of those things. But I really didn't have a vision for my life. And I just had so many people who looked out for me, people who were there. I never forget my 9th grade year. A teacher, always used to cut up in her class, and she would look at me and she was essentially say, you're going to be somebody great one day. And I'm like, man, this lady don't know me from Adam. Right. But it was, what did they say? Look at a man as he is, and he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And that's what I feel.
Can you say that again?
Yeah. Look at a man as he is, and he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And she saw something in me that I had not seen in myself yet. That year, my 9th grade year, you know, like I said, getting into trouble. All I cared about was playing basketball. I was a class clown, just, you know, wasn't hanging around the right people. And it was, I didn't find this out literally about until 6 years ago, but the principal was going to kick me out of school. And I found it out from one of the faculty there. She was sitting in on the meeting where I was supposed to get kicked out. And she told the principal, she said, "You can't do this to this kid. Like, he needs to be here." And I just found this out a few years ago, which was crazy. And so, yeah, I also, it was maybe like a couple years later. I had a friend, man. I kind of started to change and started to wise up a little bit, but I wasn't there. I was still in between. And I had a friend, man, and she was always encouraging me to do stuff. "Hey, Victor, you got to get into this. You got to do." So she's always trying to get me into leadership. And so she got me to run for a class office or whatever. And I was kind of apprehensive about it because like I'd never done anything like this before. And I'll never forget. It was a Sunday morning, and you know, she was supposed to have a call. She was going to give me like the successful game plan or whatever. And man, that day she spoke like life into me and like gave me hope that I could be better. She's like, "Victor, you can make a difference on campus. You could do this and that." And I was always say that was the day that I was like reborn. Like the light turned on. I went from black and white to color. Like, you know, Michael Jordan talks about when he hit that game-winning shot in 1982 at the NCAA championship against Georgetown. He said that lit a fire in him that was never going to go out. Well, she lit a fire in me that was never going to go out. And so just to fast forward a little bit, like that's like that was the game changer right there. I started doing a lot of speaking. You know, I was getting in front of my classmates and talking, churches, youth groups, and all of that stuff, taking leadership positions. And that same principal who wanted to kick me out my freshman year, now in my senior year, was this. By the way, when I ran for office, I did win. But my senior year, that same principal was now thanking me for what I was doing for the school. Man, like, you know, what a difference a day makes. And so, one of the reasons why I think got into branding, you know, it really comes from that. I wanted to get people to believe in what they did and how it impacted lives, just the way that teacher and my friend did for me. And so sometimes you know, I will talk to people and they don't really believe in what they do, but I'm able to see something that they're not able to, and I'm able to bring that out in them and say, "Hey, no, what you do makes an impact. You need to be sharing your story. You need to be getting out there and speaking." So one of the things I do have my clients, I have them do webinars, I have them speaking, I have them doing content and talking about what they do. And, you know, I'll edit the videos and help them with their content and stuff like that. But I want them to, you know, like that teacher said to me, "You're going to become somebody great one day." I want them to see like what you're going to do is going to make a difference in people's lives. It's going to have an impact. And that friend who spoke life into me that day, her name is Amy. And I think it was it last year, the year before? It's been, well, I'll say this. I keep a picture actually up here of the both of us. It's small up there. You can't see it right now. But it's a reminder that she's my angel and that she's my why. She about what 11 years ago, I remember getting a text at work, and a mutual friend of ours, we were in the same graduating class, told me that she had passed away. And so every day I wake up now and I'm like, man, what she did for me, how she spoke life into me and changed my life, like I wanted to do that for people in branding. And so you know, that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
No, it's huge. I mean, somebody rebranded you, right? That teacher in the ninth grade changed your brand, took the label off of you that you had accepted and printed a new one and then represented you to the staff at the school, right? As a new person. And I think that that's really important because the ability to see people, to see what they could be. A lot of times I'm in my own body. I can't see me, right? I see a perspective of me when I look in the mirror, but I don't see the real me, right? And it takes someone that sees you, that talks about the impact that you've had on them to keep you going, to rebrand you so that you could actually, I used to always tell people this. Superheroes don't put on their own uniforms because they're too tight. You can't put on that Superman outfit by yourself. That thing is spandex. Somebody got to help you put that joint on. They got to zip it up in the back. You ain't never seen the zipper on the front of Iron Man's suit. They got to zip it in the back. I know, because I got to help my girl zip up her dress on the back part. I know you can't put that thing on by yourself. And just like you're saying, Victor, we can't do it by ourselves. Sometimes somebody else has to put that cape on us. They got to put the superhero outfit on us to allow us to go out here and to fight and to take on the missions that we have. But a lot of times we didn't even know we were capable, right? You didn't even know what was in you until they said, "Yo, you know this your suit?" You like. So I want to share a quick story really quickly. It's about a farm with chickens, and these chickens are there, and one of them gets hatched, and he's running around with all the other ones, but he's clumsy, and he's bouncing around, and all the other chickens are kind of yellow, and he's kind of brown. And they're like, "Look at this old goofy brown chicken," and he's just bouncing around with his little brothers, but he's clumsy. He's bigger than everybody else, and he's clumsy. And he grows up with them, just eating the little corn and all of these things. And one day, an eagle is flying over, right? And the eagle looks down. He's like, "The heck is this thing down there doing with these chickens?" And the eagle comes down. He says, "Hey, man, why are you hanging out with these chickens?" He was like, "These are my brothers." He said, "Your brothers? Wait, your brothers? These stupid chickens." He said, "These are my brothers. I've been with them my whole life. I've learned everything from them. They've helped me do everything." And he said, "Hey, man, they may be your brothers, but you ain't a chicken." Again, he can't see himself. He can only see the people that are around him, right? And he says, "Look at their wings. Look at your wings. Look at their feet. Look at your feet. Look at their beaks. Look at your beak." Sometimes our perception of ourselves is developed by the people who we surround ourselves by. And we don't realize until someone who sees something greater in us, who knows, who's been where we're trying to go, who's flew to the heights that we're trying to fly to, they got to come down and tell us, "Look at your feet, bro. You're in the wrong place." That's all I aspire to be. I want you all to look at your feet and realize they were built to fly. The wings were built to fly. The feet were built to land on perches that others would find dangerous. But somebody has to encourage us to do it. It's really, really, really important. I got 4 more minutes. I don't know if anyone else want to share their why, but look, we gotta be the Eagles, Somebody, nobody else is gonna do it. There it is. Look.
Great session.
We gotta take a picture of that. Curtis, ain't you an Omega Sci-Fi? She was
Yeah,
doing
that's what
okay.
that's what I was gonna say. I was like, I should have took a picture. I was trying to find the screenshot so fast, and then
So
like
what
I got
y'all
my
may
hoodie
not
on.
know is that see, Curtis is in a fraternity, and it's called Omega Sci-Fi, and the little like signature move
The
that they
hooks.
do is like this. It was just what Bonnie was doing. That's so funny. Well, hey guys, this has been a very Licia, I don't know if you want to tell us why you became a speaker. We got 3 minutes before my 1:15. Or Julius, I think you all are the only two that haven't gone that aren't a part of support staff. But if either of you want to share why you chose your topic or why your topic chose you, that would be really important.
Sure, really quick. So I'm an educator, been teaching for over 20 years. And I wanted to become an educator because I realized the job where I was working, I wasn't making a difference. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is teaching kids how to read. And it's because I realized that in 3rd grade, I didn't know how to read. So I struggled through and pushed through and did whatever I could to help myself read. But in 5th grade, when I met Miss Sales, who taught us about Black history, it sparked an interest in me. And so I started to go to the library. I started looking at books, and I had a best friend that was reading very well. So my brother, my best friend, I would always rely on them to help me with the reading. In 5th grade, I was a reader because I found something that I was passionate about. So when I became a teacher and realized a lot of the students in my class couldn't read, and I didn't know what to do with them, so I just started using whatever strategies I had as a child. And now my whole life is dedicated to making sure that we close this reading gap and make sure that our students know how to read. Because that's one thing you can't take away from me. You can't take away education. So if I teach you how to read and you get the education, no one can take that from me. So that's my passion, reading.
No, that's super duper 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 important. Reading has opened up a lot of worlds for me, probably just like it did for everyone else. I mean, I used to read a book a week minimum for probably 10 years. And I think I probably have the record for Amazon audiobooks because now I think I got like 700 of them that I've bought. Ever since Audible has been out, I've been a faithful subscriber. So I understand the power of reading and allowing me to imagine that I could do certain things that I never understood. So opening that door for children, especially, I came from East St. Louis. Like, I showed my family the street I grew up on. There's only one house still up on the street that I grew up because the rest of them have either been abandoned, burned down, or knocked down. And having to see a bigger world outside of the hood of East St. Louis and watching crack cocaine get cut up on my coffee table in my house, books allowed me to do that, right? Especially as an adult, because there wasn't a lot of role models for 5'5" kids. You know, I could look at Jackie Joyner Kersey, but she was an Olympian. I couldn't run. I could look at LaFonso Ellis and Conzo Martin. They were great basketball players, but they were 6'8". So books allowed me to explore and to be able to dream a little bit. So I keep shrinking. Look at Bart. Bart always got something to say. Bart is our resident comedian, guys. If you all don't know it,
you were 5'6" yesterday. I just figured, wow.
Look, man. I think I'm taller than Kevin Hart. I can almost confirm that I'm taller than him. Okay, I'm probably taller than Kevin Hart, right? So that's kind of winning the tallest short person contest. But good to see you all here. My 115 hasn't shown up yet. So, Julius, if you want to tell us why you do what you do and what inspired you to do it, that would be great if you want to hop in. I don't know, Julius. Oh, there he is.
Hey, Ron, how are you? Hey, guys, how are you? I just meant to pop in as an observer today. And you know how shy I am, so why would you put me on the spot?
A shy speaker? Yeah, okay.
No, seriously, on a more serious note, I guess, let me see here. I don't know if my video is coming on or not, but on a more serious note, most of you don't know me, but I'm originally from Nigeria and I've been here for about 40 years. And I'll tell you, basically, when you start dealing with all the things that immigrants deal with, the culture shock, the cultural bereavement, the anticipation of going back home and taking over a family business, and then the realization that you are forever in transition until you make a decision to anchor your soul where you are and to really be able to discover your own excellence. So I was fortunate enough to have a mentor that sat me down and said, "Hey, young man, what are you doing? Are you staying or are you going?" And somebody talked earlier about that point in their life, and this was one of my turning points, was that first conversation that said, "Hey, what are you doing? Where are you going?" And at that point in time, I decided to anchor myself into St. Louis, into the US of A, and established my business. I worked in insurance business at the time and opened up my own insurance agency after that, went ahead and did several other entrepreneurial ventures before I sat down several years after that with another mentor, a couple more coaches who said, "Hey, man, this is you have a calling. You have a calling to empower and to really be amongst leaders." And I didn't know, I was trying to figure out exactly, there's so many leaders around. What exactly do you mean by that? What is, what type of leaders? And they helped me sort of carve out the niche that I work in today, which is primarily CEOs and executive teams. But, it was also a passion for entrepreneurs, for growth. It wasn't just for big Fortune 500 companies, it was for growth. And you find that growth into small and medium-sized organizations who don't necessarily have the fortitude to invest in themselves at those early stages. And so this was a market that I through the help of my mentors, I was able to carve out. And that's the area that I focus in right now, in helping men and women leaders and high performing individuals really to help achieve their excellence. And I do that in several different venues and fashions. One of them is through communication. I have a communication workshop that I do 4 times a year, and I train speakers on how to communicate on stage and communicate to their audience wherever their audience might be. So this is an area, I could get more into it some other time, more into those conversations that I consider to be my turning point. But I think everyone has certain turning points in their lives, and I can identify at least 3 of them in my life that have kind of changed the trajectory of where I am today. So thanks for listening. I wish my camera could come on because I have some really great facial expressions.
So no, this is cool, man. Kara, I know you're here representing Robert, but you mentioned that you are a speaker also. So you want to tell us a little bit about your topic and why you chose that topic, or why that topic chose you. I don't want you to feel like you're being excluded at all.
No, I appreciate that. I will say, so I'm in the aspirational phase, so I don't quite even have a topic yet. But I will say that what I'm interested in pursuing has to do with helping people pursue kind of, long story short, helping people become the best version of themselves that they can be. I'm personally very interested in what makes people tick, why people are the way they are. And so I am just seeking to kind of inform people on how they can tap into themselves and see beyond the kind of step away from the kind of step into a growth mindset and work beyond the things that inhibit them from being who they want to become. So I'm still working through kind of what that looks like and how I want to present that to the world. But it's something that I feel is absolutely imperative for people to understand. And also I realize that I guess what I'm trying to work out how to allow myself to present a message that varies from what's currently out there, because I realize that this in itself has been done, right? But I feel as if there's something more to be discovered, and that's kind of the journey that I'm on right now.
Okay. Well, and guess what? Let me tell you a secret. All of us started there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All of us started right there. But it's that little bit of inspiration, right? And I'm going to let Victor comment on this because I know he has something to say about this. But I want to encourage you that just understand that the work never stops. No matter how good you get at it, you will always find better ways to improve it, to refine it, to get it better, to resharpen it, to tell it from a different perspective. The work never stops, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one other thing I'll tell you, and this is This is super duper duper important. There are two different things that we deal with in life. One, you can be first to market, meaning that you were the first person to introduce it. If we think of people, if you're, depending on how old you are, you've heard of Xerox. They used to say, make a Xerox. Well, that just meant make a copy because Xerox was the first photocopier. Or give me a Kleenex. Well, it's a facial tissue, but Kleenex introduced it, right? Or Google it. Well, Google wasn't the first search engine, but it made search engines popular. Alta Vista and some of the other ones, Yahoo were some of the first ones. But Google made searching synonymous, right? When the Android phones came out, they said that's a fake iPhone. They used to call the Androids fake iPhones when they first came out. The podcast isn't even synonymous with Apple anymore, but they started it for the iPod because you couldn't. The iPods weren't connected to the internet, so you had to download them to listen to the radio on your iPod. That's called being first to market. Does that make sense, Kara?
Right.
So
Yep,
there are a lot
definitely.
of people that are in the marketplace before you, but everybody doesn't know them. That introduces our other topic, which is first to customer. I don't need to be first to market. I need to be first to customer. I need to be the first person that they've heard about that talks about this topic. I need to be the most impactful person that they know on this topic because nobody has a monopoly anymore. Even though I got an iPhone, I guarantee you there's somebody on this call that has an Android, right? So you want to be first to customer. Focus on that. Hey, let me just be impactful and get in front of, I know there's a lot of people, but they don't know about them. I may be I used to joke and say, look, if my girl, one of my girlfriends, she used to like comedy. And I told her, I'm the closest to Kevin Hart you're going to get. So you got a choice to make. You ain't never meet Kevin Hart. You got me right in front of you. I'm first to customer. I am the closest. You're going to get this Android version of Kevin Hart. Deal with it. Right? And she made a decision. For a couple years, we lasted. Right? But that's what we gotta be first to customer. I think that's the most impactful position to focus on. That way we don't waste our time trying to be unique. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
yes, definitely.
You're gonna always be doing the work to get better and to stand out and put your spin on it. But don't worry about being first. Let them people go over there. You don't know who you're gonna impact. Go impact those folks. Is that cool?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Yep.
Victor's going to take this to another level. So I'm going to let him go ahead and share his part.
So first of all, Kara, you talked about, you're in the aspirational stage. I just pulled this book off a bookshelf. You're getting into like the growth mindset. This is a must read. I don't know if you've read it already. It's called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck.
Okay.
So good. You definitely want to get that. I also love what Ron was saying. You want to be the first into people's hearts. This is how you're going to establish your brand leadership. And I'm going to kind of explain this through something that's called onlyness. Okay. In other words, Kara is the only, whatever your category is going to be, that blanks. All right. So, and I'll give you an example. I'm here in Orlando, Florida. When people think of Orlando, anybody could come off mute and say, what's one of the first things you think of?
Magic.
Disney World.
Palm trees.
Disney. 99% of people always say Disney, right? People don't realize that there's a lot of other theme parks here in Orlando. We have, Legoland out in Lakeland. We have, we used to have Watermania and Wet and Wild back in the day. We got Busch Gardens out in Tampa. So really the Central Florida area. There's Universal Studios, which I like better than Disney. I didn't care for Disney as a kid. Man, I don't really care for it now. Like people always like, hey, Victor, when they find out from Orlando, how's Disney? I'm like, I'm a grown man with things to do. I don't know what's going on at Disney. But anyway, but Disney has an onlyness that the other parks don't have. And their onlyness statement is Disney is the only entertainment company dedicated to magical family experiences. All right. So what happens is now Disney dominates in a world where there is no competition. Why? Because they're the only ones doing what they do. And I'll just give this example. If we were all of us on this screen right now, if we were all stuck in a room and we hadn't eaten in days, and Kara, you walk in with bread, who's the most important person in the room?
I mean, I am. Yeah.
Right. So in your category, you want to be the only person in the room with bread. That's it.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah.
You're the captain now. From that old movie. I'm the captain now. Right. He was the only one with a gun. So of course he was the captain.
Mhm.
Bart, what's up, man?
I was just gonna tell Kara that although that it might be other people in your space, they're not 18. Before you say you're not 18, don't tell them how old you are, because if you look that way, they're gonna think you. And my point to that is there may be other people in the space, but they're not very, very young people in the space. So that is something that can set you apart.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm not as young as I look, but I can understand, like, yeah, the importance of not allowing other people's perception to kind of get in the way of pushing forward.
That brings.
We all started there. Go ahead, Curtis.
No, I was just thinking of like I used to make like hot sauces and dry rubs and stuff for foods, and like I used
That's
to
why
think,
you was crying earlier. You had a little bit of pepper in your eye. I get it. I get it.
But like the thing is, like if you go in any supermarket or whatever, and you go down that aisle, you see all these hot sauces, you see all these dry rubs and all these other things. They're not stopping making them. But
Right.
when you go down that aisle, you have to realize, like, to be here, you got to be making some type of money. So even though there's a whole lot of ketchups, a whole lot of different, everybody has a certain brand that they like and that they're gonna go to the store for. So I wouldn't like that stopped me from going into it saying like, oh, okay, 15,000 people are already doing, but does 15,000 people have my story? No, they don't. So I can bring a different twist to it and different brands and different tastes. Like, oh, there's a different flavor of X, Y, Z. So that's the story and the realization that got me to keep pushing forward. So hopefully that gives you a little guidance. Or
Let me also say this really quick. So, Kara, as you're establishing yourself, you're trying to figure it out and stuff like that. Study what other people are doing in your particular industry, right? Like know what they're doing, know what's going on. I just showed you this book. And as you start to establish yourself more and more, start to push away from what they're doing. In other words, you want to be in, like, think of it as concentric circles, right? You want to be in a spot where you are doing what you're passionate and really good at, along with what your customer wants, but away from what your competitor is good at. So overlap of what your customer wants, what you're really good at, and away from what your competitors are doing. It's also a good way to figure out your own. And this is for everybody in here. Like, guys, when you sound like everyone else in your industry, you make it very easy for people to forget you, right? Like, and I'm going to pick on the financial people. I don't know if there's any in here, but if I talk to 3 financial people in a week, I'm hear the same 3 phrases I'm going to hear. They didn't teach us this in school. Have peace of mind and protect what matters most, or something like that. I'm always going to hear that. I'm like, you guys all sound the same. I don't know how to different, like, you, without distinction, there is extinction. So find out, like, as you're studying, you're reading, you're gathering information, you might do a talk here or there. Start looking at where's my sweet spot? What am I really passionate about? What do I do that's really good, that people resonate, the people are feeling, but that's different from what everybody else is doing. Like when you're operating in that, like you get what is called your genius zone, man, like you're going to be able to, sell water to a fish, right? Like that's where you want to be.
So Kara,
Thank you for that.
I want to let you know, we weren't picking on you. Thanks for allowing us to share feedback. And you have a great example in your office with Robert. I mean, Robert has had a lot of success in what he's done in different aspects, whether it was military, outside of military, a lot of different leadership as an attorney. I mean, he's done a lot of cool stuff. So you got a great example already. You just happen to be the the example for everyone else who's watching on YouTube that's a new speaker. They'll be able to see themselves in you and take the advice that everyone else was giving. So I don't want you to feel like we were picking on you at all. And
No.
when Julius was making his facial expressions, that's just because his camera started back working. It wasn't because
No, it's yeah, no, I completely understand where you all are coming from, and I really appreciate the feedback, honestly. Yeah, just having a group to be able to bounce these ideas off of and get honest feedback is like immensely helpful. So
well, we're here for you. So hey guys, my 1:15 canceled, which means I got 10 minutes before my next meeting. So I'm gonna hop off and go eat lunch because I've gotten 5 text messages saying your food getting cold. And I don't want to offend the person who made it, so I gotta go eat. But good to see you all. This has been great. I have one call to action today. It's not about buying anything from SpeakerHub or becoming a member of SpeakerHub. My call to action is if you don't know why you're doing it, figure out why. Write down why you got into this business. Because on the days when it gets cold and you have to put on your Snuggie like Ange over there, that Snuggie is gonna be the why. It's gonna be the why. You're gonna grab that why and say, "This is why I did it." It's gonna keep you warm and keep you going along this speaker journey because it's not easy. It's not as easy as they make it seem, but it is worth it. So my call to action today is find out why you're doing this thing and stand on it. And also look at the feet of the people around you. If their feet don't look like yours, get into groups with the people who got the same feet, the same wings, and the same beak. On that note, I'll see you all tomorrow, guys. Talk to you later.